Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Everyone, how you doing? Welcome into the program. So today on the show, we have computer and technology news, and we have a lot to talk about. We have some fun stories, such as the leaked Apple videos and memos. That's going to be a lot of fun because, you know, seeing things that companies do not want you to see, hey, that's always fun. We have that story. We have more, including Patreon lays out its new guidelines to help with the whole payment system. You can think of OnlyFans, but, you know, obviously there's a lot of restrictions when it comes to like adult content and things like that. So we can find out what's actually acceptable and what isn't. We have more, including, Google will offer info on advertisers' history, so that way you can see, you know, really what they've been advertising. That's one of the problems, is that the transparency behind advertising, it bounces around a lot, and you really don't know who is advertising to you. All you see is, of course, the promoted post or whatever it may be. So everyone, welcome into the program, computeramerica.com. That will have everything, including past shows, future shows, everything you need to know about the program. You can find it right there, and it's super simple. We just put on, we just changed it up a bit. If you haven't checked it out in a little while, it should be much easier to read, and hopefully a lot of you enjoy that. So computeramerica.com, links to social media are up there as well. Everyone, of course, if you can't catch us live on IRN, then the next best place would be the podcast, wherever podcasts are heard. Check out Computer America, and then, of course, there's always the video portion, if you so choose, twitch.tv/Computer America. Check that out there. Everyone, let's, I say we go ahead and have fun with it. We have an hour to do this. And everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. Let's go ahead and talk about Apple. Yeah, why not? This should be a good one. With we're going to start with statements by Tim Cook, and it seems like Apple's just not having a very good day when it comes to leaks about the company and its internal workings. But I really do feel like whenever we kind of get a glimpse into this, you start to see kind of how the company operates, and if if they have shared values as you. So shared values with you, and let's go ahead and start talking about this. So this article is coming to us from The Verge and Zoe Schiffer, saying that Tim Cook says employees who leak memos do not belong at Apple, according to a leaked memo. Yeah, you heard that right. The CEO says that the company is doing everything in its power to track down workers who happen to leak memos. So there's a couple things there. I think one of the most obvious is that Apple is, one can make the argument recently versus the past, but they have been one of the driving factors in kind of design when it comes to smartphones, tablets, computers. I don't think anyone can really dismiss how fundamentally changed the computing landscape has become thanks to Apple. Through the iPhone, the iPad, and the iMac, and their other Mac-related products. What they work on really does make a difference in every product that you can buy. So there's a lot of interest through competitors and rivals to get their hands and undercut and undermine what Apple is doing behind the scenes. Now, again, we're not having a conversation on if they're still doing that, how much they actually innovate versus how much they used to innovate. Just know that regardless of what you think, Apple is a $2 trillion company, and their research and development team is second to none. They definitely do drive the trends that are happening. So it makes complete sense in the world where Apple would want to keep its secrets, its what it's kind of working on under wraps until it's ready to show it to everyone else. Otherwise, you could have disastrous effects where maybe one of its main competitors suddenly comes out with something that's cheaper, very much similar, and just completely blows Apple out of the water. That's what they want to avoid. But, well, hey, Tim, they are a large operation. And the idea that they're going to keep tabs on 100,000 employees who have to work on these things is a little naive. But they're going to do their best to do exactly that. So let's go ahead and talk about this article here, saying that Tim Cook sent an email to Apple employees Tuesday evening about an all-hands meeting that leaked to The Verge last week. He said that the company is doing everything in its power to identify those who leaked and noted that people who leak confidential information do not belong at Apple. And again, we should not be reading this. We should not be, kind of talking about this. But hey, the memo was leaked. That kind of expressed that. On September 17th, Tim Cook announced during an internal company-wide meeting that Apple would be requiring frequent testing for unvaccinated employees, but was stopping short of a vaccine mandate. He also said that he was looking forward to moving forward after the Epic v. Apple antitrust case. Shortly after the meeting, both pieces of news leaked to The Verge. Now Cook is tying the news to product leaks, which the company has historically gone to great lengths to track down. Yeah, and again, that has to do with product design and all that good stuff. They want to make sure that whatever they unveil is the first time that everyone sees exactly what they're doing. But again, it's almost impossible with an operation this large to really keep that under wraps. Now, they're saying that, and they have the full memo that you could see here, which we can read, saying, "Dear team," and again, this is Tim Cook referring to the Apple team. "It was great to connect with you at the global employee meeting on Friday. There was much to celebrate, all that good stuff, so on and so forth." He's saying, "I'm writing today because I've heard from so many of you. Were incredibly frustrated to see the contents of the meeting leaked to reporters." Now, when he says so many of you, I don't know who he's exactly talking about, because I bet you people a couple rungs down from the C-level employees really don't care all that much. But yeah, so many of you have care about the leaks. This comes after a product launch in which most of the details were also leaked to the press, which, hey, those usually come from somewhere down the supply chain. It's not a secret whenever, random company orders 10 million different phone casings or phone housings, exactly these dimensions. It's not rocket science. Now, he said that, quote, "I want you to know that I share your frustration." Of course he does. He probably is the source of all of it. "These opportunities to connect as a team are really important, but they only work if we trust the content will stay within Apple. I want to reassure you that we are doing everything in our power to identify those who leak. As you know, we do not tolerate disclosures of confidential information. We know that the leakers constitute a small number of people. We also know that the people who leak confidential information do not belong here," which essentially means if you are found out to have leaked to the press, then you're fired. That's and I'm sure it's a form of intimidation to see if they will stop doing that. Now, they say that as we look forward, I want to thank you for all you've done, which is a very hollow statement from a corporation like this, but you do as you do. They say that yesterday we released iOS, all that good stuff. There's nothing better than that. We'll continue to measure our contributions in the lives we change, the connections we foster, and the work that we do to leave the world a better place. So here's the leak memo in its entirety. Apple trying to undermine people who surreptitiously send information out from the company, that will probably never happen. And that has never really worked unless you were doing something like the Manhattan Project, where you just didn't tell other departments what it is that you were doing, and no one really has an idea. What is it? The only way that two people keep a secret is if one of them is dead. Something like that. Secrets in this kind of setting are probably never going to happen. And I understand why Apple wants to control the narrative as best they can, because, video game companies do the exact same thing, where they don't want people to get their expectations, things that are fluid in testing, things that are never really going to become a reality. They don't want to kind of say, oh, here's what we're working on, as if to say, here is what we are going to deliver. Apple wants to control that narrative as best they can. To say that they're going to completely snuff out all information leaks out of Apple, that will never happen. And of course, that's good news for us, because we love to dish about the latest rumors. But there you go. So the memo that says don't leak has been leaked, and yeah, it's pretty on the nose. So actually, let's since we're talking about Apple, we can do a little bit of an Apple expose here. One of the stories that was kind of half mentioned here was this was the story about Fortnite, and the fact that, well, Apple is looking forward to moving on from the Epic lawsuit, or I should say the lawsuit with Epic Games. And, well, moving on and bearing the hatchet are two separate things, because this is from Chris Holt over at Engadget, saying that Apple won't let Fortnite back on the App Store until all court appeals are exhausted. And Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney said that the process could last another 5 years. It's pretty crazy. So Apple has told Epic Games that it will not allow Fortnite back into the iOS or Mac OS app stores until the outcome of the lawsuit between the two is finalized. Tim Sweeney shared communications between the two sides, in which Apple said it won't consider reinstating the developer program until the district court's judgment became final and non-appealable. Apple yanked Fortnite from the store because, again, this is what the whole lawsuit was about, that Epic was trying to divert payments outside of the iOS store so that they didn't have to pay 30% royalty on products that they were selling on other platforms, for the same price. Epic, of course, filed a lawsuit, and yeah, it went to trial in May, and that's when we learned a bunch of good details. Now, they're saying, and this is a tweet coming to us from today from Mr. Tim Sweeney, saying that Apple lied. Apple spent a year telling the world, the court, and the press they'd welcome Epic's return to the App Store if they agreed to play by the same rules as everyone else. Epic agreed, and now Apple has reneged in another abuse of its monopoly power over 1 billion users. So obviously if you don't recall the court case or what came from that, the judge gave like a mixed review where Apple won on most of its cases, including walled gardens, including, kicking them off, all that good stuff. But one where they didn't was that the judge did not agree that Apple could restrict people from spending money not inside their store. So the judge issued a permanent injunction instructing Apple to let App Store developers direct users to alternative payment systems, which was really the most important one, because now Netflix can say, oh, would you like a Netflix subscription? Click this link, and then it would send you through a browser to go buy to go subscribe to Netflix, instead of having to subscribe through the App Store and pay Apple 30% of that renewing subscription. Little things like that that will add up over time to a big chunk of Apple's revenue from its App Store. Check. Okay, that's back. And okay, I think we are back up and running to some extent. Sorry about that. There was a power outage. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so that works. So we just have to restart this one. Real quick. Okay, so we're going to... Okay, we might just do this without the video because the webcam is unfortunately broken. So everyone, welcome back into Computer America. I apologize, there was a power outage that seems to still be wreaking havoc on everything, so hopefully everything stays on as long as it can. We apologize, there's some inclement weather here at the studio. Now, everyone, we're just going to pick up where we left off, talking about this whole Apple thing and the fact that Apple, is kind of pulling back a bit from Epic in their agreement that as soon as this is settled, well, hey, that's then everything's good to go. Now, Apple has said that we welcome, so on and so forth. And on Twitter, Sweeney shared an email he sent to the App Store head, Phil Schiller, last Thursday, stating that Epic would abide by those rules, saying that though we can't update the Fortnite version that users still have on their iOS devices, we've disabled Epic payment server side and have paid Apple $6 million as ordered by the court. By the way, that $6 million is like chump change compared to what Epic makes. We saw that where Fortnite was the most popular mobile game, and was bringing in billions of dollars in revenue, so that $6 million was kind of paltry. But hey, they paid it. That's what the court determined, and that's what they paid. Epic promises that it will adhere to Apple's guidelines whenever and wherever we release products on Apple platforms. He added that Epic would restore Fortnite on Mac as soon as possible if Apple restored the developer account. Now, late last night, Tim Sweeney, again the CEO, kind of determined here, they said that Apple informed Epic that Fortnite will be blacklisted from the Apple ecosystem until the exhaustion of all court appeals, which could be as long as 5 years. And some of those, due to the statute of limitations, it's not even really a matter of any kind of ongoing litigation. Is just waiting until the window of appeals can run out. So that seems almost unfair. But hey, that's what was upheld in this court decision, which was this idea that Apple is the law when it comes to iOS. Now, they said that things are more complicated when it comes to iOS. Sweeney told Schiller that bringing back the game to iPhone and iPad depends on whether and where Apple updates its guidelines to provide for a level playing field between Apple in-app purchases and other methods of payment. You can see that there. So Epic will resubmit Fortnite to the App Store if you adhere to the plain language of the court order and allow apps to include buttons and external links that direct customers to other purchasing mechanisms without terms or impediments to a good user experience. Yep, so, and that's almost a little snarky, wherein they kind of say, we'd love to come back to the iOS store. We paid you your money, your $6 million. And and by the way, make sure you include that little payment button that we sued you for. So there you go. So however, as Apple's lawyers wrote in a letter to Epic on Monday, the court affirmed Apple's termination, and the relatable agreements between Epic and Apple was valid, lawful, and enforceable following a breach of contract by Epic. So there you go. Following the comment and other statements since the court's decision, coupled with Epic's duplicitous conduct in the past, Apple has exercised its discretion not to reinstate Epic's developer program account at this time. So, it's one of those kind of tit for tat, $2 billion companies really going at each other's throats. So it's hard to say, oh, poor Epic in this one, But, and yeah, of course, that's not working either. So yeah, it's hard to say poor Epic in this one, but yeah, we'll certainly have to wait and see. But for the short term, and unfortunately, that's just kind of the way games are. I mean, not many games have the staying power to be there for more than a couple of years. It would be very, very, very detrimental to the longevity of Fortnite to not be included in the iOS store. I mean, it's already been 2 or 3 years, and another 5, I don't know how popular Fortnite would be, but there we have it. So there's story number 2, and again, because we're doing all things kind of related to Apple here, and then we'll move on to some other fun topics, but this last one is going to be about leaked video from Apple, just to kind of give you an idea of something that a lot of people assumed. And hey, leaking videos from Apple seems all the rage. So there you go. Let's go ahead and talk about this article here saying that leaked Apple training videos show how it undermines third-party repair. And for anyone out there who's tried to repair their own iPhone, man, they do not want you to do it. It voids all kinds of warranties. If you try to buy third-party parts, even though they are just as reliable or the exact same as Apple branded parts, and they cost a fraction of the amount, man, they try everything in their power to get people to not do that. And this shows kind of the official routes, because, they could put up, little blurbs and stuff like that saying, we can't warranty that product. And, we recommend that you do this. But this is a training video that Apple has put out to convince customers of third-party repair people to use Apple branded parts instead of these other parts that are much cheaper. And of course, Apple would not get the cut of. So the training videos Apple made for its authorized repair partners now shows how the company trains repair technicians to undermine third-party companies and talk customers into buying more expensive first-party repairs. So they have, and if you can see the video portion there's 2 gentlemen there. This is how these, how they generally go forward. Or how they kind of conduct. They said that, I cracked the glass on my phone and I'm comparing cost. How much for just that part? End quote. One man acting the part of the customer asked in one of the videos. Now, the other man saying, I can show you the cost for just the part before we begin, playing the part of a repair technician. And they're saying that, whoa, the customer says, that's way more than the shop down the street. Why is it so expensive? And he said that this quotes for a genuine Apple part, the technician said. And of course, it goes into, what do you mean by genuine? I'd like to save some money. Aren't they really the same part? After this, the technician launches into an explanation of why it's best for people to replace broken iPhone parts with genuine Apple products, saying that a genuine Apple part has to pass AppleCare engineering criteria. The technician said with genuine Apple display, and of course, you can tell this is already dripping with legalese from Apple, but they're saying that with a genuine Apple display, all the features you've come to rely on behave seamlessly. That's not the case with third-party displays. They said that some of the videos obtained by Motherboard appear to be final products, while others seem to be in the process of being edited, with what appears to be scratched voiceover work and video and images that do not appear in the final. That said, the scripting and talking points closely match what Apple authorized service professionals have been saying for years. And Apple's not completely wrong in this. They have made it, and this is more of a thing when like the home button was an issue, and people were getting like dust and water into it, shorting out the circuit behind the Touch ID sensor. And when it came time to replace the Touch ID sensor, Apple would only work with their own Touch ID sensors that they produced. So while yes, the part was not complicated, other third-party providers had that part. because it didn't have kind of the activation software, and it didn't have kind of the the serial code, and it didn't really line up with the hardware and the software. Even though it was the exact same part, Apple could identify that this was not a part made by us, and therefore they turned off a number of features that just weren't, they turned off a number of features that could have been available, but they didn't want them to be available because you did not use a quote-unquote genuine Apple part. So they mentioned that the training videos are meant to help certified repair stores navigate a world where customers can get replacement parts far cheaper than what Apple charges for basic repairs. For years, Apple has made it harder for independent repair stores to fix phones, nudging customers to go to Apple stores instead. And yeah, as someone who has actually fixed their own iPhone and done it successfully, never really had a problem with it, it is difficult, especially navigating what a good part actually looks like. Even something as simple as fixing the touchscreen and the glass can be rather treacherous, depending on which model that you need. Now, they said that a member of community of Apple enthusiasts that seek, publicize, and trade any kind of information that Apple would like to keep under wraps sent the videos to Motherboard. The videos are not public, as they are only intended for Apple Store employees and authorized independent repair technicians, and they said that the videos were stored on an Apple platform where a bug allowed him to access them without having to provide a login. So, not kept under password. I think we've all been there. They said that this was launched back in 2016 as a way for some independent stores to make basic repairs to Apple devices, and that was like the Apple-approved specialist. And the stores must open their, the AASP stores must open their stores to unannounced audits by Apple and face a mountain of restrictions on what they can and can't fix. So to be an Apple-approved service partner, which I think is, kind of what they're getting at there with AASP, there's benefits and takeaways. If you're not... It's not even like if you have a computer, you can open up a shop anytime you want and be like, we are CompTIA certified repair technicians. Everyone has, this level of certification, so on and so forth. And there's different certifications that you can qualify for, you can train for, you can take tests for, and then suddenly you're certified. You're good to go. But when it comes to Apple, they, to have that continuing membership and partnership with Apple to service their devices and be a trusted Apple repair technician, you have to submit yourself to all of this criteria and credentials that, hey, much like their closed ecosystem of iOS, they have a closed ecosystem of repair technicians. It's much more restrictive than any other company in terms of third party. And this is something that Apple has been, known to get in trouble for being so, for being so closed and charging more and almost acting as a monopoly, charging people a lot more for basic repairs, including, hey, changing a battery that should cost all of, they knocked it down to $99 from like $179 or something like that. It was ridiculously more expensive, and yeah, they were just upcharging a lot. So they mentioned that in an introductory video about the recent changes to how Apple works with repair partners, an Apple representative reassured the stores that it wants them to service all products. And they mentioned that to strengthen the brand message, we've strongly encouraged authorized service providers to offer repair solutions for all products. It's important when customers see authorized that they know they can get support for any and all products sold in their country. This offers customers a trusted Apple repair experience performed by trained technicians using genuine Apple parts. There you go. So AASP stores have long been restricted in what they can and can't repair, and it's unclear from the training videos how much this is changing. Apple did not respond to a request for comment, but here we go. 6 of the 8 videos are dedicated to training repair techs on how to deal with customers worried about a huge cost of repairing an Apple device. One 3-minute video is dedicated to helping customers understand why an Apple screen is better than one from a third party. At one point, both phones show the calculator and a hand on the Apple side punches in some numbers. Saying, quote, if both screens were responding accurately, we'd see the screen touches that yield the same result. Instead, the third-party screen is missing touches or registering them in different locations. And yeah, you can, again, if you're watching the video portion, we can mute the tab and play the video right here. Because we have access to these things. So comparing them, and they show the app screen and doing that whole thing. So they show the Apple one showing 89,946, and then for the third party, they're showing let's see, where is it? So they're showing things like screen brightness, touch sensitivity, touch registering. Looks like they haven't completely included that just yet. So it looks like this is one of those uncut videos that they're talking about. Now, with that being said, every video in the training series is aimed at boosting the morale of Apple's partners and training them to convince customers to spend more when they could spend less. And they have a quote here from a particular AASP who wanted to remain anonymous, saying, as someone who works as an Apple authorized repair technician, I see on a daily basis how many devices the manufacturer claims are unrepairable, but that third-party repair shops have shown time and time again that they can solve, letting people recover precious documents and memories that, because of restrictions, I am not allowed to help with. It's frustrating to watch people who have struggled with confusing situations when Apple tells them their devices need to be replaced, while a non-authorized service provider may actually be more effective. This is the right to repair is so important. This is why the right to repair is so important, indefinitely. One last statement, and this seems like actually 2 more statements, but this one seems incredibly pertinent. This is from the CEO of iFixit. If you haven't checked out iFixit, highly recommend you go check out their website. They do amazing teardowns, and they give repairability scores to a lot of the technology that you use every single day. And buying something with a good repairability score is super important for making sure that you have a device for years and years to come. Now, the CEO said that the training videos marked a distinct change in how Apple handles independent repair, and saying, quote, it sounds like to me that they're coming to grips with reality. This strikes me as kind of the thing that they should have been doing all along, educating their technicians that there is competition in the market and they need to compete on the quality and merit of their repair rather than the monopoly practices that they've been using. Although, obviously dissuading people and having a very restrictive partnership program sounds like a lot of the same practices, but at least they're getting there. They also mentioned that this is from Nathan Proctor, head of the U.S. Public Interest Research Group, and the Right to Repair campaign, saying, quote, I think it's a sign of progress that the manufacturers, instead of locking them into having no choice, are just trying to win them over to their side. Maybe Apple is preparing for a world where they can't legally take away those choices anymore, and they need to compete by convincing customers it's worth it to pay more for their product, service, and part. The goal of Right to Repair has always been that customers be able to have the freedom to make that choice. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and wrap that up there. Very supportive from 2 different individuals that are very, would be very anti this type of messaging. But there you go. I think that might be just about the last Apple story that we do. Okay, no, one quick one, just a quick update. We won't even show it here on the stream, but just let all of you know that are listening. European Commission, so the EU, to force Apple to switch to USB Type-C by 2024. And why is that important? It's because you have less cables, less, and this is good for the environmental angle. It's good for the compatibility angle. It's good for so many reasons. Apple Lightning connectors have always been kind of a proprietary thing that they use to kind of switch it up from different compatible parts. They, don't get me wrong, Apple makes a lot of their own hardware. So for them to have their own standards when it comes to charging and data transfer speeds, and of course, just the format of their hardware, you would think that that's kind of their choice, and people don't have to like it, but it is what it is. When it comes to the EU, though, they're trying to reduce the amount of e-waste and the amount of cables that are thrown out. And just by having a USB Type-C instead of a Lightning cable means that, well, that's just another series of cables that don't have to be thrown out. You could just use it. So having that ubiquitous connection type across all devices is actually a very good thing for consumers. USB Type-C seems to have won out. They were already supposed to be doing that for a while now. Looks like we have a hard deadline. That is the big change here. So expect most, if not all, Apple devices to have USB-C and not Lightning connectors. You already see, I think a lot of iPads already have USB Type-C, and a lot of the MacBooks, MacBook Pros, and the iMacs have USB Type-C. They have already been phasing out Lightning connectors. The last big holdout really was the iPhone, and that should be switching over soon. So there you go. It's proprietary going away, which is not a bad thing. Again, for consumers, I think compatibility beats proprietary. Okay, let's see. We have tons of different things we can talk about. How about this one? How about this one? The internet and an unfortunate recent case, if you've been watching, especially American news, if you've been watching American news, you may have heard the case of Gabby Petito. And it's this horrible situation where a family lost their daughter and, and all the tragedy that goes along with it. Now there's a manhunt for the boyfriend and assumed murderer of her. And there's this whole situation playing out in front of the country where law enforcement are trying to track down and solve this murder and now catch an individual in this case. Now, here's the thing. The internet kind of has a hobby. And I'm using very broad terms and, inferring that everyone on the internet is doing this, but there's some pretty big subsections of the internet that want to help find the killer and find her body, and if they actually helped. It's one thing to sit there and watch the evening news and kind of get your daily update on this high profile case. It's another to go on with thousands of other people on different social media channels and start theorizing, crawling over, public information, collecting statements, and trying to, as an internet community, solve this case before law enforcement, or in some cases work in conjunction with law enforcement to get it done. So let's talk about this. Did the internet actually help find Gabby Petito? And they mentioned that a Wyoming coroner has ruled the death of the influencer a homicide, and police in Florida are still searching for the missing fiance. Some of the internet who follow the case are celebrating as if they helped find the body and render justice. And they mentioned that we brought Gabby home, and this is one of the users, one of the biggest accounts, making content on the case, said on TikTok after police found the body, saying, quote, "We need justice for her." Now remember, this is someone on TikTok making content, making videos, reaction videos, collecting data and sharing it with their users, who's not related in any way to this person, just someone who has taken a lot of interest in this case. Now, but it's unclear what, if anything, the effect the social media investigation around the disappearance and murder was. Millions of people tuned into accounts like this person's to pore over the details of the case and share information. People with relevant information who claim that she gave the fiancé a ride near where the body was found stressed that they had also shared information with police. So there you go. Was it them taking social media and kind of tipping off hundreds or thousands of people on this information that then ran with it? Or was it law enforcement doing what law enforcement is, trained to do? Now, the murder and the wide-scale open-source investigation have sparked a conversation about what sorts of crimes capture public attention with the media and on social media. I'm sure that a lot of people know that there's this idea that, you have a much better chance of getting, kind of headline news coverage if you are a conventionally attractive white woman. And that's what we kind of have here. And, she was obviously an influencer in her own right who was participating in van life. But the case was also sparked a series of conspiracy theories and frenzies that intertwined with other parts of the culture wars, saying that people are participating for different reasons. They mentioned that it allows us to do two things: to think about motives and then to be part of the solution. So if there's a mystery to solve and to think about how and why this particular act of violence occurred, that allows people to engage in both of these questions. Because people are curious by nature. They want to help. And hey, if sitting at your computer talking to other people and think this one out can help, hey, that's a pretty low effort, high reward kind of activity. Now, in the world of open source true crime investigation, there are different levels. The vast bulk of visible discussion takes place on Reddit, TikTok, and other social media platforms where people like this influencer pump out video after video discussing the minutia of the case in real time. But then there are forums like Web Sleuths, and Web Sleuths in particular is a forum that has almost 3,000 separate threads dedicated to famous cold cases. So that means that, they are covering a lot of different bases, and there are a lot of users talking about a lot of different cases. The users share court documents, tease out leads, and share theories. Petito's case had truly captured the attention of both the forum and its moderators, who have set up a nightly YouTube live stream about the case. And of course the moderators had to take a hardline stance. They're like, do not bring up mental health, do not bring up COVID vaccine, do not harass law enforcement. Anything like that would get you banned from the service. But man, by and large, it was it was a very popular series of threads on this murder. So the article goes on to mention that in most cases, one of the things that people want out of the narrative is a sense of closure. And so in many cases, the reason why people participate is in the hopes that they'll be able to bring justice to a particular victim or see that justice was rendered to the perpetrator. And the members of the Web Sleuths community contain trained forensic artists and other subject matter experts who have helped solve actual cases. So it's not that everyone there is completely unqualified, but still they are operating outside of the official investigation with law enforcement. It's just people, regardless of how trained or untrained they are in their professional life, in their personal lives, they are taking a huge personal interest in this. Now, it's hard to say right now if the internet-born investigation helped find the body. In this case, did popular attention matter? They mentioned, I don't know the answer to that, but if I'm understanding it correctly, the pressure came from the family. it goes public, but I'm not sure the police would have acted differently than they already were, because, there was such a massive interest on a national level for this. Who knows if law enforcement gave it more or less resources than they normally already would. They mentioned that they had already, law enforcement was already hard at work on the case when the internet took notice. Attention to the case didn't cause the search warrants to happen any faster. People are participating in social drama, but their participation in achieving justice are disconnected. One is not causing the other. And that might just be the sad reality of it, where law enforcement is going to do its investigation as thoroughly as possible. And don't get me wrong, through the pressure that the parents put on, through the spotlight that the parents put on this particular investigation, maybe more resources were dedicated to it. Maybe more leads were followed than they would have, for other cases. But yeah, law enforcement had to be just as methodical and just as, kind of by the books as they would handle any other investigation. They can't just skip steps because people know about it. Now, with that being said, how, public interest is important, but there's people who are following this case and paying attention to this murder simply because it's engaging for viewers and for the content creators that are making videos and nightly YouTube streams, multiple daily video updates talking about every little detail of this. There is a big part of just popularity and being able to get popular off of someone else's suffering. They mentioned that, this one influencer that is constantly quoted in the article here on TikTok is posting with less frequency. Her most recent is a call for information about Daniel Roberts, a black man and a geologist who went missing in Arizona. They mentioned that it has 238,000 views, and the most recent Petito case, which was, again, the woman who was unfortunately murdered, had about 766,000 views. So someone who is not a young, attractive white woman is getting less coverage by the same person, getting a third of the views as the other one would, and yeah, just kind of all go and just kind of shows that, there's certainly a level of justice that maybe they're trying to seek out, but there's definitely returns where if something is popular, if something is getting them more views and more attention, then they are going to definitely invest more of themselves and give their audience more of that content that they seem to be craving. So Wes said that there's a growing reflection in the culture about what it means to engage with so much true crime and why certain narratives are privileged above others, saying that, quote, "We're also seeing some correctives. We have narratives that privilege non-white women and other kinds of victims as ways to think about why are we engaging with these forms of entertainment." So, yeah, there you have it. Did the internet actually help find Gabby Petito? And the answer is maybe. Public interest is important, making sure that the spotlight stays on these individuals until, people are found, justice is served is certainly, important. But did they actually solve anything? Maybe. Big maybe. But I think that that's going to be a much bigger focus moving forward. And by the way, we're going to try the webcam here again. No, it does not work. Okay. Probably have to restart the whole thing. But yeah, it's only going to get more popular as social media kind of goes on and you have these platforms where people can talk about these things ad nauseum. True crime is very entertaining. There's a whole series of podcasts that are all about the machinations of individuals and their court trials, their court dates, their life in prison, what happened during, before, and after. Like, it's engaging entertainment, but we also have to realize this these are people's lives. And to kind of take that out a little bit and just say, oh, this is just entertainment. I need more. People are also going to try to profit from it. And we need to be careful of that. So, okay, that was a great reporting through Motherboard, and you could definitely check that out there. We'll have links to all of this in the show notes. That was story number 4, and we have time for, at this rate, not even 1, but we'll be quick about this. Let's talk about... Okay, Snoop Dogg. He comes up surprisingly often on this show, like way more than other artists that's of a similar nature. But check this one out. Shocking, Snoop Dogg is not a white NFT influencer in Italy. That's amazing. So yeah, you can see the article here, once again from Vice, saying that Snoop Dogg doxed himself as anonymous NFT influencer Cosimo de Medici, but it appears we're almost certainly being crypto-punked. So there you go. Saying that there are plenty of anonymous figures in the world of cryptocurrency and NFTs, which is one of the reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of cryptocurrency and NFT, is that most of the people that shill for it, that are advertising it and pushing it, telling others to get into it, it's a good time, have massive financial ties to the continued success of NFT or cryptocurrency. Or they're trying to bait and switch and do all sorts of nasty things to essentially steal your money. But Snoop Dogg, how does he work into this? They mentioned that, one of those shadowy figures one day suddenly revealed themselves to be Snoop Dogg. There you go. This exact series of events took place this week when an anonymous NFT influencer going by Cosimo de Medici online teased that they would be doxing themselves. Shortly, as promised, I will dox from my personal account, they tweeted on Monday. As my fame is considerable, the tweet will no doubt be discovered. Those who are curious to my identity will soon know it. He added that whoever discovered the tweet first would be sent 1 Ethereum, which is about $3,000. Shortly after, and this is where it's pretty obvious that it's a scam, shortly after, Snoop Dogg tweeted from his account, I am at Cosimo Medici, and Cosimo sent 1 ETH to a poster who flagged Snoop's tweet. This set off a firestorm, with observers noting a few things. Snoop Dogg is into NFTs himself. Cosimo once helped Jason Derulo buy an NFT, and Snoop Dogg's current Twitter avatar is an NFT owned by Cosimo. There you go. It's a couple striking things that, hey, it could really be Snoop Dogg. So it all seems pretty sewed up, except for one thing. Snoop Dogg is obviously, painfully, not Cosimo de Medici. We are being crypto-punked by masters of the form, and yet many news outlets published relatively uncritical articles taking the tweet at face value. Even though it's happened so many times, like whenever cryptocurrency and a lot of celebrities, don't get me wrong, some celebrities are really into crypto and NFTs, good for them, whatever. But a lot of high profile celebrities and individuals, whenever they tweet about this kind of thing, it's more to the nature that they were hacked. And I'm thinking more of the one that, led to the majority of famous verified users on Twitter pushing a singular Bitcoin wallet, saying, hey, send me money. Yeah, just celebrity status and crypto and NFT seem to be a poisonous mix that is just a money stealing scam. They mentioned that the most wait. So, the clue that shows that the clues that show this is the case are right in the open if you dig a little bit. The most damning piece of evidence is that Cosimo tweeted a photo of himself and Derulo at Lake Como in Italy on September 10th. Both their faces are obscured with their unique NFT avatars, but it is clear that Cosmo is not Snoop Dogg. He appears to be a white man. In addition, he is shorter than Jason Derulo at 5'10", according to the internet, while Snoop Dogg is over 6 feet tall. You can see the image here. Shorter than Jason Derulo. In addition to this, and of course you can see, they're kind of dressed in tuxedos and suits, though his hands are, they're white. In addition to this, Cosmo and Snoop Dogg have a habit of being in different continents at the same time. They mentioned that Cosmo tweeted that he was in Italy, including a photo on September 4th and 6th. Snoop Dogg was in and around Los Angeles, according to Instagram posts. On September 3rd, Cosmo tweeted a picture of this pizza that is also in the Italian countryside. And on September 3rd, the same day, Snoop Dogg was performing at NBA star at an NBA star's wedding. On Monday, Cosmo also seemed to imply that he was currently in Italy, saying, "I cannot do noon Eastern, however, as that's 6 p.m. here." Based on Instagram posts, Snoop was in LA that day working in the studio. And yeah, so it's possible that Cosmo is pulling a long con about being in Italy. It's also possible that Snoop Dogg has completely changed the way he types. It's and has faked images, but that seems less likely. It's probably a troll, and let's be honest, it's probably someone who got access to Snoop Dogg's Twitter that they weren't supposed to, and then decided to try to bilk Snoop Dogg's fan base for some exposure and probably some money. So it's a stunt, it's a troll, and so there you have it. Snoop Dogg is almost certainly not Cosmo de Medici, who didn't respond to a request for comments sent over Twitter, but one must respect the effort and apparent success of the gag. So there you go. Saying, "Hey everyone, I'm going to tell you exactly who I am. Keep an eye out," and then tweets from one of the most popular Twitter accounts on Twitter. It's pretty crazy. They thought he was going to get away with it. So some of the other articles that we're not going to be able to get to include a winged microchip that is the smallest flying machine made by humans. And they show a little diagram here of it next to an ant, and it makes the ant look giant. It's almost like a smartphone for ants. It's really incredible. So there's that one. Discord starts testing YouTube integration weeks after Google shuts down music bots. Supply and demand. Patreon rolls out those tools to help people stay on the right side of MasterCard's new standards. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a ton of other articles. Tomorrow on the program, we hope that you're there. Again, right there in the middle of today's show, we had a power outage. We apologize for any kind of interruption, but hey, it happens. Everyone, tune in tomorrow. More Computer America, same time, same place. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, we'll catch you next time. Everyone, enjoy the launch of Diablo 2 remastered, and hey, go do something fun. Catch you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.